Hello, dear friend. I want you to hear this. There are voices rising in your spirit that are too sacred for ordinary sound to carry. They awaken when your body is weak, but your soul refuses to give up. You may not see them, you may not feel them with the senses. They're not amplified by loudspeakers. They don't ask for applauses, yet they shake the heavens. These praises, they are born in the cavern of your ache, untouched by polish, untouched by perfection. They're not scheduled, they're not orchestrated. They are raw, trembling, honest, and they say, I don't understand this pain. I don't comprehend this valley, but I will not walk away. That kind of worship, that soul's cry in the darkness, that is not a moment. It's a signature. Heaven marks it. Every time you whispered, Lord, thank you, when your voice broke. Every time you lifted your hands, though tears threatened to drown you. Every time you uttered a breath of praise, while heart was in knots. Heaven wrote those notes down, not as debts, but as proof. Something holy is rising in you. You didn't recognize it then, but your quiet obedience sounded fiercer than any battle cry. And today, there is movement. Not because you finally got the words right, not because you found the perfect structure, but because your heart kept bowing, even when the world screamed to rise up in pride, to demand, to push back. You've bowed, you've trusted. And God, He has been recording every moment. Not the show, not the surface, every tear, every surrender. There were nights you thought were unfruitful, moments you believed were empty, times your faith looked like silence or surrender, times when your worship was nothing more than trembling hands or a whisper inside that said, I'm tired, but I still trust you. Those moments were never invisible. They never passed unnoticed. They were never small. God does not dismiss the whispers of your heart just because no one else heard. In fact, one of His dear ones wrote, though the fig tree should not blossom, nor fruit be on the vines, yet I will rejoice in the Lord. I will joy in the God of my salvation. Habakkuk 3:17-18. That courage to rejoice when everything says no fruit, that is worship rising through the ache. Growth, spiritual growth, is often painted as glow, confident, bold, visible. But there's a hidden growth, sacred growth, that comes in darkness, when there's no audience, when even you are doubting whether you're doing it right. Yet something ancient inside keeps saying, stay, trust, keep honoring. That is worship. That is warfare. That's what has brought you here to this moment. You've made decisions over and over. I will stay. I will trust. I will praise, even without proof, even without applause. You've asked poignant questions. Is faith still real if I don't see miracles? Is praise still praise if there's no breakthrough yet? But here's what's rare. Not faith in miracles, but faith before miracles. The kind of faith that praises when everything feels like it's falling apart. The kind that lifts a cracked jar, just pouring out what little is left. And God calls that holy. Many believe heaven responds to performance. Flashy songs, declarations, displays. But the truth, heaven responds to posture. Your posture through the pain, your honor in dishonor, your worship in situations where words failed. All of that matters more than any loud voice ever could. You, dear friend, have offered that posture in a season determined to steal your rhythm, silence your praise, rob your voice. Yet you stayed. You stayed when walking away looked easier. You stayed when self-pity said you deserve rest, when bitterness offered justification. But you lifted your hands anyway. You trusted, Anyway, let me testify, worship isn't a vibe. It's not a melody or a scheduled hour on Sunday. It's a lifeline when everything you trusted disappears. It's speaking to God when your throat hurts. It's exerting trust when all you have is broken. To say, I'm weary, but I will still believe in you. That kind of worship begins change. Because it's not your words, they're not magic. It's your heart, the offering of your truth. When a seed cracks, it looks like destruction, but it's birth. What has looked messy, even ugly, has been preparing something inside you. God never demanded your performance. He asked for your heart, and you gave it fully, not when you were whole, but when you were shattered. Now listen, there is shifting under the surface. The shadows you've walked in, those nights of silence, surrender, of letting go, those are not lost. They are the soil, and the soil is fertile. What you've planted by faith, what you've sown by praise, is rising in the Spirit. This is not a reward for doing things right. It's recognition of what you survived while still choosing faith. This is where the echo begins, where heaven declares, you were never hidden. I saw you even when you could not see yourself. You are entering a kind of breakthrough that doesn't rise from striving. It comes when Spirit remembers something pure, something familiar. Maybe it's a melody you heard long ago. Maybe it's the scent of rain, the pattern of dawn. Maybe it's just your inner voice registering, I did not flinch. I worshipped when it seemed pointless. I honored when honor was mocked. I stayed faithful when faith felt foolish. Heaven doesn't forget that. I call to mind David. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Psalm 23, verse 1. When David walked through darkness, he affirmed God still guided him. He worshipped in the valley, and God honored that posture. You might feel walls closing in around you. That's true. But they aren't walls over you. They are walls over the delays, the holds, the strongholds that tried to hold you back. Your worship has throttled the timeline. In the unseen realms, it shifted things. In the realm that matters, alignment has happened. Not because you demanded it, but because even in your weakness, you aligned with truth. You stayed soft when hardness seemed justified. You praised when resentment whispered entitlement. You held fast to faith when abandonment tugged at your soul. So what comes to you now isn't random. It is righteous, and it is right on time. Let me show you what I mean. Paul and Silas, imprisoned, chained, beaten, still sang. About midnight, Paul and Silas were praying and singing hymns unto God. Acts 16:25. They weren't bargaining. They weren't begging to get out. They were worshipping in chains. And that sound, their resolve, broke the doors open. Not because chains are weak, but because God's presence is stronger. That is your story. Your worship didn't save you from the trial. It declared that you were fireproof. Most never understand what it means to lift a voice when world collapses around them, to sing through grief, to pray when voice trembles, to worship when nothing supports you. But you've done that, and that power matters, not because of the volume, but because of the consistency, because of the courage it costs to go on. Here is what your worship has done. It's not only expressed belief, it enforced it. It is a declaration. I still know who is God. I still trust who He is. That kind of posture forces a response in heaven. It's not vague. It's movement. It's momentum. It's shift. Something formerly hidden is breaking loose. The seed under your tears, under your obedience, under your nights of not knowing. It's ready. This isn't if, it's when. Doors are opening. Atmospheres are being corrected. Barriers that thought they had time are falling. People who ignored your praise will begin to see its power, not to glorify you, but to point them to the one who carried you. Let me be crystal. This is not a payout for performance. It's prophecy catching up. It's the moment when your endurance, your worship in the dark, becomes impossible to ignore. The sound of your faith reverberates, and it demands recognition. You did not worship for reward. You worshipped because all else failed. Because praise was air when fear tried to suffocate. Because honoring God was the only alive thing in you some days. And now that worship carries weight in realms unseen. Doors don't open because you earned them, but because God saw what you were embodying. Worship without show. Faith without fanfare. Obedience without applause. That's the kind of spirit that can carry glory. Listen deep. God is not just proud of you. He is preparing space for you, not for prestige, not for empty status, but for purpose, assignment, influence. A table is being set, your name on it. Not because you demanded it, but because you bowed. And that bow became a beacon. Don't be surprised when those who passed by begin to circle back. When doors you thought shut forever knock from the inside. When divine favor seems to write your name in immutable ink. These things are coming, not because your life turned around at a perfect moment, but because heaven turned toward you long ago. This is the reveal. So, keep your posture. You don't need loudness. You don't need performances. You don't need explanations. When heaven confirms, no earthly judgment can negate it. Let this settle in your spirit. Every song you whispered in anguish, every prayer you offered in exhaustion, every trembling statement that still said, "I trust you," even when you couldn't feel it, it counted. They were not wasted. They were building. They were forming. And now they are birthing something greater than you dared imagine. Your silence was never void. It was a womb. And now the hour has come. This is the moment your private surrender becomes public testimony. This is where worship speaks louder than wounds, where heaven leans in and whispers, "Well done. I have listened always. Thank you for staying. Thank you for believing. Thank you for letting this truth land in you. May it stir something, awaken something, ignite something. If this message resonates in you, share it with someone.